Good afternoon, Mr. Lee. Thank you for coming in for the Parent-Teacher Conference.
You know, this parent-teacher conference comes at a really good time as I have some questions. My child came home from school last week and told me they took a test called a check-in, but they didn't get a grade. Is this true?
Yes, this is true. The NC check-ins are interim assessments that students take 2 to 3 times a year. These assessments measure how much students have learned over the past several weeks, and we do not give grades on them. Instead of grades, I use the information to plan my future lessons. The data from these assessments help me identify which areas each student needs more instruction or support in order to be successful, and which students are ready to dive a little deeper.
That makes sense. It sounds like assessments may be different than the test I took in school. Could you tell me what assessments are now?
Sure. Assessments are actually tools that are used to measure each child's progress. I use assessments to decide which of my students need extra help and which of my students can be challenged a little more. Without assessments, it would be like planning and teaching in the dark. An assessment isn't always about taking a multiple choice test. Most assessments in my class take place informally, and my students do not even know they're happening.
Are there other assessments where you don't give grades?
Yes, every day while I am teaching, I administer informal formative assessments. Formative assessments can be as simple as me observing how students are doing their classwork to how they contribute to class discussions. Other formative assessments can be more formal, such as a question of the day or a short quiz. I use this information to plug gaps in student learning and to give a little push to students who already get it.
Wow, formative assessments seem helpful. So if you don't give grades on interim or formative assessments, what assessments do you grade?
Assessments that I grade are called summative assessments. Summative assessments provide a summary of how much grade level content a student has learned. These are administered at the end of a unit and can be a test like you had when you were in school. Grades can also come from a writing assignment, research paper, or project that is scored on a rubric. If I score an assessment on a rubric, then I share the rubric with students. A rubric lists out all of the requirements for success and how many points are possible for each different requirement. Students can use a rubric like a checklist to make sure they have included all necessary parts. There is another type of summative assessment, the end of grade or end of course tests, or EOGs and EOCs, as the students call them. The EOGs and EOCs are what most people think of when they hear the term summative assessment.
Ah yes, the EOGs. I hear families in my neighborhood talk about those EOGs, especially near the end of the school year. They seem quite stressful for everyone. Why do we need the EOGs, and will they be graded?
While EOGs and EOCs may be concerning for students and parents, they shouldn't be. With multiple assessments throughout the year, students have had many opportunities to show what they know. EOGs and EOCs show how well each student understands what was taught throughout the year. These give an achievement level which tells parents whether or not a student is proficient on the grade level content standards. Students are also given a Lexile or a quantile measure, depending on if it's a reading or math test, and they are given a percentile rank. The EOGs and EOCs also provide data on how well each school is performing. This helps our school identify areas where we need to improve so we can better help students in upcoming years.
Thanks, Mrs. Lopez, for taking the time to discuss all the different types of assessments today. I learned a lot about assessments and how they help you and your students. Now I have a better understanding of what to expect.
You're welcome, Mr. Lee. You had great questions. Thank you for coming in to meet with me today.